There is a moment in every life, almost imperceptible, when destiny pauses and asks, who do you choose to be? We don't always hear the question. Often, we're distracted, trapped in routines, lost in noise, shackled by other people's expectations. But it's there whispering between the lines of your choices, hidden in how you respond to adversity, buried in the way you treat the dreams you carry inside. You become what you believe. This isn't just an inspirational phrase, it's a universal law of human existence. Belief shapes reality. The mind creates the world. History is full of men and women who understood this before us. Think of Thomas Edison. He didn't invent the light bulb on the first try. In fact, he failed over 1,000 times. And what kept him standing? Not just science, not even technical talent. It was his unshakable belief that failure was just part of the process, that each mistake was one step closer to the light. He didn't see obstacles. He saw disguised opportunities. While the world laughed at him, calling him mad, he saw something no one else could, the future. Because when you believe with such conviction, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. The same happened with Henry Ford. At a time when cars were luxuries reserved for the rich, he had the vision of an affordable automobile for everyone. Many said it was impossible, that he was being irrational. But Ford did not waver. He knew success doesn't depend solely on technology, but on mindset. And he built not just a factory, but a revolution, a new way of living. And why? Because he believed. And belief, when sincere and persistent, has the power to turn ideas into reality. Now, look at yourself. Look at where you are right now. Your current situation is a direct reflection of your beliefs. If you feel stuck, perhaps it's because you've allowed doubt to take over your mind. If you live in fear of failure, it's probably because you internalize the idea that failure is final, not temporary. But remember, failure is only feedback. It's the universe saying, try again, but differently. It's nature testing your determination, your resilience, your courage. Have you ever stopped to think that most people live within self-imposed limits? They believe they can't have more, that they don't deserve better, that they're trapped where they are. But the truth is, the limit was never outside of you, it was inside. And when you change the way you see yourself, everything changes. Your thoughts shape your feelings shape your actions, and your actions shape your destiny. This isn't cheap philosophy, it's the science of the mind. It's applied psychology. It's the law of cause and effect in motion. So I ask you, what do you truly believe about yourself? What do you carry deep in your mind, that silent thought defining who you are and what you can achieve? If it's negative, doubtful, limited, then you're creating a negative, doubtful, limited reality. But if it's strong, clear, confident, then you're building a brilliant, possibility-filled future. The great lie the world insists on telling is that success depends on luck, privilege, or circumstance. But the raw, unfiltered truth is that success depends on what you decide to believe. It doesn't matter where you were born. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. It doesn't matter how many doors were slammed in your face. What matters is the strength of your belief, the conviction with which you keep moving forward, even when everything seems to be falling apart. And this leads me to a crucial revelation. You don't need to change the world to start living the life you desire. You first need to change the way you see the world, and that starts with clarity, mental clarity, emotional clarity, spiritual clarity. Because without clarity, you drift, manipulated by circumstances, reacting to events instead of creating your own path. When you understand what you truly want, when you can visualize in detail the future you want to build, energy flows, opportunities appear, connections form, and destiny begins to align with you. Think of Walt Disney, a man fired from a newspaper for lack of imagination, a man whose first projects all failed, but he didn't give up. Why? Because he had clarity. He could see with absolute precision what he wanted to create. He could smell the parks, hear the children laughing, see the characters come to life. And he didn't rest until that dream became real. Because when you have clarity, there's no room for doubt. There's only path. So pause just for a moment, close your eyes, and ask yourself, where do I want to be? How do I want to feel? Who do I want to become? If the answers are vague, confusing, uncertain, then it's time to go deeper, to seek the clarity that liberates. Because without clarity, you live like a ship without a rudder tossed by the waves of life. With clarity, you become the captain of your destiny. And there is no greater force than a human being determined to live with purpose. By the way, what is your purpose? Not the one others expect of you, but the one that vibrates in your soul. Purpose isn't something you find. It's something you create. It's the sum of your passions, your values, your vision of the world. It's what gets you out of bed every morning, even when exhaustion weighs heavy and doubt whispers. It's the fuel of perseverance. Without purpose, life becomes mere survival. With purpose, every action gains meaning. And here's the secret. Purpose doesn't need to be grand to be powerful. It doesn't need to save the world to change your life. Sometimes, purpose is simply to love more, serve better, grow constantly. Sometimes, it's to create something joyful, teach something inspiring, build something lasting. What matters isn't the size of the purpose, but the intensity with which you live it. Because in the end, you become what you believe. And if you believe you have a purpose, then you'll act like someone who does. You'll speak like someone who does. You'll walk like someone who does. And as you live that way, day after day, the belief solidifies, the purpose strengthens, and reality begins to shift. Because the human mind cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. And when you live as if you already are who you want to be, the universe responds. So take a deep breath, look inward, find clarity, discover your purpose, and begin to believe with every ounce of your being, because from this moment on, nothing will be the same. From this moment on, you're no longer following the flow. You're creating your own path. And that, my friend, is the beginning of transformation. The journey doesn't end with clarity. In fact, it begins with it. Clarity is the map, but the territory still needs to be explored. Clarity is the compass, but you must take the steps. And this is where discipline comes, and the invisible engine behind every great human achievement. Because without discipline, clarity fades. Without discipline, purpose fades. Without discipline, belief dissolves. Look at the story of Abraham Lincoln, a man who faced more defeats than victories in public life. He lost elections, suffered bankruptcies, battled deep depression. But what kept him steady? Discipline. He didn't quit. He didn't let fear take control. Each defeat was absorbed, processed, used as fuel to continue. And when he finally reached the presidency, he led an entire nation through its bloodiest war. Not by chance, but by choice. By daily decision to rise, even when the ground seemed to disappear beneath his feet. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is love in action. It's the conscious choice to do what must be done even when motivation is gone. Even when the heart is heavy and the mind screams to give up. Motivation comes and goes like the tide, but discipline is constant like the sun. It doesn't depend on fleeting emotions. It's the structure upon which we build any great result. How many times have you started something with enthusiasm only to quit once the difficulties arose? How many times have you let procrastination steal your days, your months, your years? The difference between those who achieve great things and those who don't lies not in luck, nor in initial talent. It's in consistency, in the ability to show up every single day and do the work, even if small, even if hard. Think of J.K. Rowling, a single mother living on government assistance, writing in cafes while her baby slept. No one believed in her. Her first drafts of Harry Potter were rejected by dozens of publishers, but she didn't stop. Day after day, page after page, she continued. Not driven by passing motivation, but by deep discipline, and today billions know the story she created, and millions have been inspired by it, all because she chose every day to keep going. That doesn't mean the path is easy. Nothing of value comes easily. Discipline demands sacrifice. It demands that you say no to good things to focus on what's essential. It demands that you resist distractions, excuses, justifications your mind invents to avoid discomfort, because growth happens outside the comfort zone. And discipline is what keeps you there, even when every fiber of your being wants to retreat. But discipline doesn't exist in isolation. It needs a foundation. And that foundation is vision, a clear, powerful, vibrant image of the future you're committed to building. Vision fuels discipline. It gives meaning to sacrifice. It makes you wake up early, work late, restart after failure. Because when you can clearly see what you're building, every step, no matter how small, has purpose. Vision isn't just desire. It's an elevated mental state, a vivid picture of the future you're committed to creating. It's what differentiates a passing dream from a lasting mission. Dreams are fragile. Missions are unstoppable. And when you commit to a vision, you don't wait for favorable circumstances, you create them. You become the architect of your own destiny. And this leads me to another undeniable truth. The universe responds to action. It's not enough to have clarity, not enough to have discipline, not enough to have vision. All of this must translate into consistent action, because action is the only language the universe understands. Thoughts are powerful, but action moves mountains. It's the bridge between dream and reality. Many get stuck in the phase of intention. They have big plans, big ideas, big promises, but they don't turn them into movement. And while they plan, the world moves on. And they end up watching their own lives pass by. Not due to lack of intelligence, not due to lack of talent, due to lack of courage to act, to take responsibility, to take control. Remember Elon Musk. When he decided to enter the space industry, many laughed, said it was impossible, that he didn't understand rockets, that he was crazy. But he didn't wait for the world's approval. He acted, he invested, he risked, and today SpaceX is one of the most innovative companies on the planet, not because he had a genius idea, but because he put that idea into practice against all odds. Action doesn't wait for perfection. It seeks evolution. It understands progress isn't linear, the path is uneven. Not every decision will succeed, but every action, even if it fails, brings learning. And every lesson is one more step up the ladder of growth. Because failure isn't the opposite of success, it's an integral part of it. And here arises another crucial element, adaptability. Because the world changes, circumstances change, people change. And if you don't adapt, you fall behind. Adaptability is the ability to accept the unexpected, adjust course, learn from what didn't work, and move forward. It's not weakness, it's emotional intelligence, it's maturity, it's wisdom. Think of Steve Jobs expelled from Apple, the company he founded. Instead of giving up, he moved forward. Created NXT, bought Pixar, and returned years later to save Apple from imminent collapse. He didn't cling to the past, he adapted. And thanks to that, the world got iPhones, iPads, and a digital revolution that continues today. Adaptability is also resilience, the ability to rise after falling, to move forward even when everything seems lost. Resilience isn't ignoring pain, it's recognizing it, learning from it, and continuing. Because life isn't about avoiding falls, it's about how many times you stand back up after them. And this is where gratitude comes in. Gratitude isn't just saying thank you, it's a conscious choice to focus on what's right even when much is wrong. It's acknowledging small triumphs, daily blessings, hidden lessons in hardships. Gratitude is the antidote to despair. It's the light that guides you through the darkest moments. Because when you practice gratitude, you shift your mental frequency. You begin to attract more things to be grateful for. You start seeing opportunities where you once saw only obstacles. You begin to live with lightness, even in difficult times. And this isn't naive optimism, it's inner strength. It's elevated awareness. It's emotional mastery. And so, cycle after cycle, you begin to realize life isn't a sequence of random events. It's a continuous construction. Every thought, every action, every choice, every belief, every emotion, everything contributes to the fabric of your reality. And the more you master these elements, the more power you hold over your destiny. You become what you believe. And if you believe you can, then you can. If you believe you can't, then you can't. The choice is yours. The mind is the battlefield. And victory begins within. So breathe deeply. Look at where you are. See the road you've traveled. Acknowledge the challenges you've overcome. And prepare for the next step, because this journey doesn't end here. It's only just beginning. Every step you take, every choice you make, every word you speak, every action you perform, all of it is shaping your destiny. And although time may seem slow, the years accumulate. And one day, looking back, you'll realize it was the sum of small decisions that defined who you became. That's why every second is valuable. Every moment is an opportunity to redefine your trajectory. Every instant is a chance to choose again, to restart, to reinvent yourself. But restarting isn't easy. It requires courage. It requires brutal honesty with yourself. It requires confronting the ghosts of the past, the emotional scars, the limiting beliefs long accepted as absolute truths. Because true transformation doesn't happen on the surface. It occurs deep in the mind, where the oldest patterns reside. And only when you dig into these patterns, question them, and replace them with new beliefs does real growth manifest. This demands self-awareness. Knowing yourself isn't just knowing what you like or dislike. It's understanding why you act the way you act, why you react the way you react, why you close off or open up in certain situations. It's recognizing emotional triggers, unhealed wounds, traumas that shaped your decisions. And it's only by understanding this that you can begin to free yourself. Self-awareness is the mirror reflecting the soul. And many people fear to look into it. They prefer to maintain the illusion of normality, of stability, even if internally there's a whirlwind of inner conflict. But growth demands confrontation. It demands courage to face what hurts, to admit what's been denied, to take responsibility for what's been neglected. And it's exactly at this point that many give up. Not for lack of ability, but out of fear of change, because change is uncomfortable, change is scary. Change is leaving behind the familiar, even if it causes pain. And that's why so many remain trapped in lives they don't want, relationships that don't nourish them, jobs that crush them, because they prefer the known evil to the unknown good. But the truth is, discomfort is the price of evolution. And anyone who wishes to become greater than they are today must be willing to pay that price. There is no growth without rupture, no transformation without resistance, no freedom without courage. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, what is keeping me from becoming who I know I can be? What is holding me to a smaller version of myself? What do I need to release to move forward? These questions don't have easy answers. They demand introspection. They require vulnerability. They demand honesty. But it's precisely in this place of authenticity that true change begins. Because until you identify internal blockages, you can't remove them. Until you recognize repetitive patterns, you can't interrupt them. Until you face the ghosts of the past, you can't fully live in the present. And this is where continuous learning comes in. Because growth isn't an event, it's a process. It's a constant journey of discovery, evolution, refinement. And those who become extraordinary aren't necessarily the most talented. They're the most willing to learn, the most open to criticism, the most dedicated to self-improvement. Think of Ray Kroc, the man who turned McDonald's into one of the largest franchises in the world. He didn't invent the hamburger, didn't create the recipe, but what he did was learn. Learned about systems, operations, scalability. While others saw just a restaurant, he saw a replicable model. And that was only possible because he was always seeking to learn more, understand better, expand his perspective. The same applies to you. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter how many times you've failed. What matters is the willingness to keep learning, to seek knowledge even when inconvenient, to listen to feedback even when hard to hear, to study the masters, read the books, observe the examples of those who walked the path you wish to follow. Because knowledge is power, but only if applied. And that's where many stop. They accumulate information but don't transform it into action, and so they remain stagnant. Because information without application is just the illusion of progress. True growth only occurs when knowing becomes doing. And this leads me to another fundamental element: total responsibility. Responsibility for your life, your results, your thoughts, your emotions, your choices. Because as long as you blame the past, others, circumstances, you're handing over control of your life to external forces. And as long as that happens, you'll always be a victim, not a creator. Taking responsibility isn't easy. It means recognizing that you have power over your reality, that you're not a product of chance, but an active architect of your destiny, and that can be terrifying. Because when you take responsibility, you can no longer pretend you have no choice, can no longer complain without acting, can no longer wait for things to change without changing first. But it's in this moment of taking responsibility that true freedom begins. Because freedom isn't the absence of responsibility. Freedom is the awareness that you are the author of your own story. And regardless of what happened before, you can always choose to write a new chapter. And it's with this daily choice, this conscious decision to become something greater, that you begin to build an extraordinary life. Not a life without challenges, not a life without pain, but a life with purpose, a life with direction, a life with meaning, because in the end you become what you believe. And if you believe you're capable, then you are. If you believe you can go further, then you will. If you believe you deserve more, then you do. Belief isn't just a thought, it's a force, it's energy, it's what gives shape to your reality. So take a deep breath, look inside, recognize the power you carry, and decide from this moment on to live with intention, with courage, with clarity, with discipline, with vision, with action, with adaptation, with resilience, with gratitude, with learning, with responsibility. Because when you commit to these principles, there's no limit to what you can achieve. You weren't born by accident, you were born for a reason. And that reason is to create, to grow, to transform, to impact, and the world needs you. Your talent, your voice, your light. So go forward. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for circumstances to change. Start now, as you are, with what you have, and build the life you deserve, because you become what you believe. And if you believe in yourself, then nothing, absolutely nothing can stop you. You were not born to be average. You were not made to live in the shadows of others, following paths already walked, repeating stories that aren't yours. You came into this world with a unique purpose, a flame within you that no one can extinguish. And now is the time to ignite it, to let it shine so brightly that it lights not only your life, but the lives of those who cross your path. It doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. What matters is how many times you've chosen to rise. It doesn't matter how many times others doubted you. What matters is how many times you believed in yourself. It doesn't matter how many doors were closed. What matters is how many you insisted on opening. Because you are stronger than you think, more resilient than you imagine, more capable than you've ever known. And within you lies a power that transcends fear, surpasses doubt, and breaks every limitation. That power is not found anywhere external. It's within. It's in how you choose to think, in how you choose to act, in how you choose to live. And now you have a choice. You can keep walking in the direction that leads you to the same place you've always been, or you can turn the game around, take control, assume responsibility. Decide right here, right now, that you won't settle for less, that you'll pursue the extraordinary even if the path is difficult, that you'll build a life worth admiring not by chance but by conscious choice, because you become what you believe, and if you believe you can, then you can. If you believe you deserve more, then you do. If you believe you're capable of creating something lasting, then you will. And there is no greater force than a determined mind, a passionate heart, and a soul that refuses to give up. So take a deep breath, look ahead, and take the next step. Don't wait for guarantees. Don't wait for security. Don't wait for permission. Move forward, even if your knees tremble, even if uncertainty screams, even if fear tries to paralyze you. Move forward because it's in movement that life happens. It's in action that destiny reveals itself. It's in courage that the impossible becomes possible. And when you look back years from now, it won't be the difficulty you remember. It will be the strength with which you faced every challenge, the passion with which you chased your dream, the integrity with which you lived every day, and the certainty that in every moment you chose to be more than just a spectator of your own life. You become what you believe. And if you believe in yourself, then nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you.